No game is more iconic, more industry-changing, and more anticipated on the Xbox than Halo Infinite. In the mainline series of the first-person flagship shooter for Xbox, Halo Infinite is the sixth in the canon and among many spin-offs, versions, and iterations of the franchise. Ever since Bungie left the franchise with Microsoft's 343 Industries around 2010, all judgment and expectation has been on the new studio to deliver the Halo fans have demanded over the long decade since Master Chief has been under new management. Now with Halo Infinite under a year-long delay and improvements across presentation and quality, the fans are getting mixed signals for the state of 2021's biggest game on Xbox. If you're like me, my computer is my lifeline for production, for my job, and it keeps all of my thousands of files ready and available so I can share content with people around the world or just enjoy the things that I love to do. If something happened to my PC, I would be a nervous wreck trying to protect the files that make my life and my content work the way it does. That's why I'm back with my sponsor, Total AV. Total AV is an antivirus software that is trusted by millions around the world. Total AV's advanced anti-malware software will protect your digital world against viruses caused by many types of malware. It scans and instantly blocks threats in real time before they get a chance to infect your system. Total AV also removes spyware and adware that can gather information and share it with other companies that can benefit financially from you. In addition to this, Advanced Web Shield protects you against malicious websites and blocks attempts to steal your information. Total AV just doesn't protect your PC. It can protect your mobile devices as well. My exclusive offer starts today for just $19 for an entire year of protection with Total AV, which is an 80% discount off of an annual subscription. Total AV will give you up-to-date protection, frequent updates, and peace of mind in a world where we continue to live, play, and work online. Click my link in the description to discover my Total AV Colteastwood page and sign up to get access to a full year for just $19. It's a crazy internet out there, so remember, be smart, and as always, be nice. This is Colteastwood. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a monthly Halo update that actually comes with a twist thanks to a former developer that spoke up about how Halo Infinite has been going and some of the media going a little bit crazy, and we're going to clear that up today in this video. If you end up enjoying it, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new content, and let's get into what's happening with Halo Infinite. We are just 6 months from the release of Halo Infinite, and the only proof of concept coming from 343 Industries is a handful of in-engine cinematics, environmental renders, and one large gameplay segment that hit the media in the summer of 2020 with a thud. 343 was poised to release the game as is in November of 2020 to launch with the Xbox Series consoles, until the community and the internet ablaze demanded that 343 go back to the studio and make good on a promise that Xbox's flagship shooter should not only look next generation, but at least look as good as 343's previous work in the series. Recently, as 343 was quietly bringing out monthly updates with in-house written interviews, new screenshots of the game's environments were shared, and not much was eye-poppingly impressive. But so far, with well over 6 months of extra development from stay-at-home staff work, Halo Infinite is looking better than it's showing from a year before. Those who have played Halo 4 and 5 from 343 know that the last two mainline Halo games are easily the best looking graphically in the series. At this point, Halo Infinite needs to be a graphical showcase, and its campaign as far as story and scope needs to be impressive and captivating as the flagship title for the Xbox brand. And with just 6 months to release, any updates or reports are passed with severe judgment and critique. Last week, Eric Lynn, a former employee of 343, a Skybox graphics engineer, explained his experience in an 8-year tenure working alongside Halo Infinite, and the media took to writing articles and reports that Halo Infinite was suffering workers with crunch overtime, and that, quote, Halo will be great, but not an epic masterpiece, end quote. Forums alighted with the news that yet again Halo Infinite was in trouble. Employees were not happy and the game would release to little critical acclaim, according to this former developer. Fast as the news spread to media outlets, as such, the correction was slow to repair the damage and goodwill done to Halo, which has not seen gameplay updates in several months. As the news reached fans and detractors of Halo, Eric Lynn, the former developer, dedicated a 12-minute video to his audience, explaining how his quotes were poorly translated, out of context, and fodder used to spread negativity about the state of Halo Infinite. Here are the most prominent parts of Eric's explanation.
Someone watched the video from Bilibili, decided to translate part of the video where I mentioned 343 and Halo, shared it on the forum, I think it's Reset Era, and after that, some of the game press decided to run a full-blown story based on that forum post. So for the past 2 days, people starting to see articles like these. But instead, the story turned into a former 343 employee accusing the company for crunching. All because people took a few sentences out of the context of a 15 minutes long video, wrote about an article about it for clicks. I am one employee in this big development team. My experience does not represent everyone's experience there. I was genuinely happy when I was at 343. If it was that bad, I wouldn't stay for 8 years. Were there rough days? Sure, most jobs have rough days. I stated in the video that I was very grateful to do what I do. People I know work very hard for the game because we care. I left 343 because it's time for me to move on. The 343 baggage I was talking about is the fact that I will not able to work on any other IP as long as I'm in 343. I want to try new things. I mentioned it in the video that I almost cried on my last walk in the studio because I am really going to miss the place and the people there. The articles also mentioned that I said the game is overly ambitious and stuff. Do I feel the game was overly ambitious? Yes. But that's my opinion. The forum and the press also mentioned that I said don't expect it will be a masterpiece. And the reason I say that is because we are in the day of age that games can get hyped up so much and fans starting to have unrealistic expectations about it. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be a good game. I stated in the video, I still look forward to play it. And I will always support the game because I know how hard people worked on it. We got good writers working on it. The story is going to be great. The semi-open world is going to be fun. In my video, I just suggest the audience should have an open mind going into this video game. After all, it is the very first time Halo in a semi-open world form. And finally, the crunch. This is what upset me the most. It is one sentence in a 15 minutes long video, which wasn't even the point of the video, and that got brought out to be the headline of these articles. I really need to clarify that I never said there was a constant crunch, nor did I say I was forced to crunch in the video. Everyone crunched for a different reason. Some could be the deadline, sure, but many of us just want to go the extra mile to do the best we can. Sometimes an artist, like me, got into a zone and they just want to continue. But the press make it look like 343 has a crunch culture, and that really made me mad because everybody have a different experience. Some people do crunch a little bit more than the other, but that's not across the studio and it's not happen constantly. And if you're a Halo fan, take my word with a grain of salt because I cannot speak for everyone in a huge project in a studio like these.
Viable news for the latest Halo comes from a recent Waypoint update that outlines that Halo Infinite will have environmental puzzles to accompany exploration across the semi-open world, and the rest of the monthly updates illustrate a game that passionate developers are rallying behind for equally passionate fans. They said, quote, "We've been conducting external flights and playtesting with a very small external group. The feedback we've been getting has been heartening in many areas and impactful in others. Seeing a turnaround in opinion based on changes is truly gratifying." Pipeline engineer Chris Howard said, "Developing Halo 4 and 5 were challenging in their own rights, and we learned a lot from each of them. Though we had successfully delivered those games, we knew the tools we had wouldn't be enough to achieve our vision for the future. With Halo Infinite, many of our fundamental tools receive significant overhauls. As the release of Infinite nears, it feels like we are picking up momentum to continue improving, strengthening, expanding the tools through release and beyond. This undertaking and investment in our tools has taken considerable time and effort, and it's still ongoing. But what I'm most proud of is the fact that we are building something for the future. Project lead Joseph Staten said, "Halo Infinite, the most expansive game yet, evokes even more mystery and wonder." He also promises that pictures are not enough, and that, quote, "the great news is that summer, i.e. the game industry event season, is just around the corner, and there are glorious plans afoot." Halo Infinite is about to be showcased, play-tested, and beta released to thousands across the world this summer. By the time we head into the holiday season, Halo Infinite will be ready for a worldwide launch across consoles, PC, and xCloud game streaming. It will easily be the biggest Halo in an entire decade or more, with millions of players at launch thanks to a free-to-play multiplayer model launching on Windows and Steam PC storefronts and across Xbox One and Xbox Series consoles, all optimized and tuned for competitive multiplayer in crossplay. And if 343 gets focused, the graphical prowess they have proven with their other entries, Halo Infinite has the potential to not be just the most visually stunning, but quite possibly the biggest Halo ever. This is Colteastwood. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Special thanks to my sponsor, Total AV, for making this content possible today. I wanted to give this former developer a chance to get a bigger audience and eyes on the real explanation of what happened, but I also think there's two sides of the story. One, I think there are little problems and there are issues that are going on with 343, but they're being ironed out and they have new leadership in there taking care of things, and there's a lot of improvements coming to the game. But I also think that Eric Lynn got some backlash from the media, and a lot of that pressure caused him to come out and explain what's going on and maybe try to minimize some of the comments he made that he didn't think would be taken out of context. And to have your comments plastered all over forums that are usually anti-Xbox or anti-Halo is got to be a really difficult thing. So I'm glad that he was able to get out in front of this message. My opinion is that Halo needs to be better than the last couple of Halos, for sure. And a lot of people think Halo just needs to be great and Halo needs to be fun. We already know that Halo will be a really fun game, but I think 343 has to prove that they are the biggest franchise for Xbox. Even though Bethesda and other big IPs have been added to Xbox, Halo is still one that needs to prove that they can go above and beyond for the brand. Joseph Staten, who is leading the project right now, has shared on Twitter that they have a bunch of gameplay vignettes ready for this summer. He's talking about the E3 showcase, so I think we'll see some impressive gameplay as well as some new betas and open betas for all of us to try out the game to see what we're in for, which I think will be a release in November of 2021. If you end up enjoying this video, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. You can further support the channel by joining the Patreon and joining the channel membership, either or. Those all give you early access to videos. I post those some 12 hours before they go live. I just launched my very first podcast. I've been in a podcast, RDX podcast, for almost 4 years, and I'm still there, but this is my first time sitting down, launching my own show, and it's called the Xbox Newscast, or XNC. And I had two big guests on the show, and I won't have a regular panel. I'll be interviewing industry people, insider people, or big personalities that are in the gaming business. So if you want to get new information and hear hot takes from some pretty big people or some really cool people that I really enjoy to listen to, check out the Xbox Newscast podcast every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time or 1 a.m. if you're in the UK. And if you're not up late to watch the show, it will be posted on demand on YouTube, and I'll put it on Spotify for now, and I'm looking into additional platforms. But I want to know what you think of Halo Infinite. Are you worried about the state of how the game is going? You think it's going to be okay? Are you excited? Let me know in the comment section, and while you're there, please be nice.